tribalistic, but they are making you tribalistic.
Nigerians have expressed outrage over the certificate forgery by Nigeria's Minister of Science and Technology.
Same-sex marriage. Church of Nigeria rejects election of new Archbishop of Canterbury.
That the people that are killed in the Boko Haram or terrorism across this country are only Christians. That is unfair.
We are complaining. Election will come. We will still collect 1,000 naira and still vote for the same people.
Gas was to be sold by Dangote at 800 naira. It's all these gas dealers that block it.
Match your actions or match what you are saying with reality.
Stay with us. More coming up on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
Above and beyond borders. It's Borderline
With Ireti Bakare-Yusuf.
Join the conversation no matter where you are. Download our mobile app by searching Nigeria Info FM on the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. Also, get news updates in sports, entertainment, news, and current affairs right on the app. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
This is The Voice Note on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
I have a dream. I am no Martin Luther King, but I am Olajumo Akinloluwa. Fellow citizens, imagine a country with no definite population, a nation where its people don't agree with its ideals. A person, an individual born to no nation seems impossible, huh? Because every nation, regardless of its population, be it over 800 or over...
You hear it from us.
We tell you who,
when,
where,
and how it was said.
Lagos Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has commended past and present leaders in the state.
If you're planning to disturb the peace of Lagos State, please have a rethink, because police say they will not be your friend.
Kwankwaso urged the president to leave a legacy of free elections.
Only on 99.3.
your station for talk.
Welcome back to Borderlines, the only show that takes you beyond borders. And right now, we've gone beyond borders. We went to the United States, my previous guest. Now we're crossing the borders to South Africa. To one, people have NGOs, they create NGOs, they have initiatives, and some of them are just absolutely so impactful that when you get to hear about them, you're like, wow, you can't help but be wowed. So in the last week, if you've stayed up to date with what's going on in Gaza, in Palestine, you will know that an outrage happened, confusion, and serious geopolitical questions. The mystery charter flight that took 153 Palestinians from Gaza to South Africa. They landed at OR Tambo Airport, International Airport in Johannesburg without warning and without the documentation normally required for entry. But the South Africans didn't turn them away. They took them in. One of the NGOs that are looking after these 153 Palestinians is headed by Dr. Imtiaz Sooliman. He's the founder of the Gift of Givers. Dr. Imtiaz, welcome to Borderlines. Indeed, welcome to Nigeria virtually.
Yeah, good evening, and nice to talk to somebody in Nigeria. And thank you, and welcome. And greetings to all your listeners. Great to be here.
It's an honor to have you. Really, the work you do is, first of all, tell us about the Gift of Givers Foundation. Why did you create it, and how long has it been before we get into the nitty-gritty of things?
Well, it's a calling. It's a special calling. It's not my organization. I didn't get up one morning with the idea of forming an organization. It never happened that way. In 91, I met a spiritual teacher in Istanbul, and I fell in love with a man I've never seen before. The following year, 6 August 92, on a Thursday night, after a religious ceremony, he just looked me in the eye and in fluent Turkish, and I don't speak a word of Turkish, but I understood every single word that he said in Turkish that night. He said, "My son, I'm not asking you, I'm instructing you to form an organization. The name in Arabic will be Waqful Waqifin. Translated, you can't really translate it exactly, but it became Gift of the Givers. It will serve all people of all races, all religions, all colors, all classes, of any political affiliation and of any geographical location, but you will serve them unconditionally. You will expect nothing in return. This is an instruction for the rest of your life. That's how it happened. He gave me an instruction in Turkish. I understood in Turkish and asked him, how come when you speak Turkish, I understand, and when other people speak Turkish, I don't understand? He said, my son, when the hearts connect and the souls connect, the words become understandable. It's totally spiritual. It's a long story, and I don't think we have time to cover everything. We've intervened in 47 countries. We're disaster specialists. We're going for 33 years now, and we've delivered 7 billion rand worth of aid to 47 countries. We even intervened in your country many years ago when a church collapsed somewhere in Nigeria, and we sent in people to assist those people that collapsed in the church.
Oh, yes, yes.
We've done
the tabernacle, yes.
We were involved there too. And so we do many things. We don't do any disasters. We do infrastructure, boreholes, agriculture, taking care of cattle, animals, catching invasive fish and feeding to the people, feeding centers, wheelchair distribution, catch-up surgery, counseling services. We do a lot of stuff, And, we've established ourselves very well with the largest disaster agency on the continent, and we intervene in really huge disasters.
Wow. Thank you so much. I mean, like you said, it's a long story. And like I said at the beginning, there are initiatives, there are NGOs, and you learn about one NGO. At some time, I can say I didn't know of the gift of givers. And then you're like, wow, they exist. Incredible. So when you first heard about the Palestinians that landed in Joburg without notice, what were your immediate thoughts? What came to your mind?
Well, there's something before that. I need to give you the background to that.
Please do.
On the 28th of October, another plane landed in Johannesburg. No one knew about this plane, and the Palestinians landed on the plane without documentation also, came through the channels through immigration, and the organization that brought them, it's an organization from Europe and of very suspicious operations. No, nothing about them is honest or credible. Brought them through and promised them accommodation of a good quality, 4 months, taking care of them, and they promised resettlement in a country that's friendly to Palestinians. They didn't know where they were going to when they left Gaza. They couldn't take their clothing. They couldn't take their luggage. They were just put into a plane and sent to South Africa. And the funny thing is, we don't know how civil aviation allowed them to land in our country. In any case, they came to the immigration and they were dispersed throughout Johannesburg. They didn't know where they were. They didn't know who to meet. They didn't know what to do. And they started getting messages on their phone that said, don't go out of the rooms. Don't go out of the house or the accommodation. You'll get killed. It's a dangerous country. You're at risk. And they were so terrified, they didn't want to come out. By total chance, a pastor, Nigel Branken, who was a pastor and a social worker, found them through somebody sending him a message. And when he found the first family, they told him there's 176 people that came through. And they got a shock. And then somebody from my team started working with Nigel, but just as an individual, not as my organization. And some of my medical members helped them. And it was through those people that we knew a second plane was coming. And 12 hours before the plane arrived, family members of that first plane told my friends that another plane is coming. The one lady said, my daughter is pregnant. She's on that plane. And we said, what plane? They said, a plane like how we came through. So we said, are you sure they're coming to Johannesburg? I alerted the government then. They said, we don't know. We'll only know before the last stop. Because we didn't know when we were on the first plane. We thought we were going to Indonesia. Some thought they were going to Malaysia. Nobody knew where they were going. It's only when they got to Kenya, they got boarding passes to show Johannesburg. And that happened in the second group of people, exactly the same thing. But this time, of course, we knew because of the people on the first plane. So we alerted government, they landed in the airport, but something changed. They said the same thing. The paperwork was not right, documentation was not there. But then how did you allow them through in the first place? And then, of course, I stayed out of it. And then eventually the same pastor went to the airport with some other people and called me after a while to say they can't get off the plane. They can't disembark. And I asked why. He said they're undocumented. They don't have the exit stamp. They don't have a return ticket. They don't have accommodation confirmed. And it was then that I got involved and started negotiating with government. And of course, our Refugees Act allows you to come through. If you're looking for asylum, you don't need any documentation. And of course, the government asked me to take care of them. And I said, yes. And of course, we took care of the first lot that we found, and we're taking care of the second lot. But all of them are not there now. Some of them had visas to other countries, and they left to go to their family in either Australia, Canada, and Malaysia.
My jaw dropped. It's unfathomable. I don't think anybody can actually appreciate how incredible this is. So, Palestinians, talk us through how they even take them to the airport, which airport, they put them on a plane, even from Gaza. What is said to them? Do they get to pay? How do they pay? All these things.
Well, there's an advert on social media. That's what they tell us. I have to relate to you what they told us because we didn't see this ourselves. Because they said, and it has been done by an organization, they said they've done this before. So there's an advert on social media. You have to pay between $1,500 to $2,000 each after you've had no income for 2 years, after you've been bombed, after your hospitals have been destroyed, after you've been starved to death, after your children have been killed, and fertility clinics have been bombed, and the bombs keep falling, so you're desperate. You care about the future, your children. So under desperation, you'll go. So they come out of the country, they go through Israeli territory, to the Ramon International Airport. And subsequently, an investigation showed that this group was not an organization what they promised to be, that they're humanitarian, they take care of refugees, they look after them, they safeguard them, nothing of the sort, because what the people experienced was nothing what was promised. Haaretz, the Israeli newspaper, did an investigation and found that this was one of their own, an individual with Israeli and Estonian citizenship, in working directly with the Israeli military to move people from Gaza through Israel out of the country, which this is human trafficking. There's no other explanation for this. If the legal people look at it and other people look at it, it's purely human trafficking because you don't know where you're going to. You got no support. You can't take your luggage. You can't do anything. This is one of the things that they do. They've been kidnapped. They're kidnappers. They steal land. They rape people. This is part of their culture. So people were moved to Ramon Airport and still they didn't know where they were going to.
Were they allowed to ask? Were they allowed to ask or they just...
They did ask.
Yeah.
No, they told me, they told, well, not me, they told my teams, they asked, but they were told, you can't know where you're going to because it's very dangerous and you can be stopped. And we had promised before, so don't ask where you're going to. It's in your own interest. But we can tell you that you're going to a country that's friendly to Palestinian people. So that's all they knew. Under those circumstances, when you are so traumatized, when your family members have been killed, you want to save what's left of your family.
Of course.
So you just say yes. And I've seen refugee situations in many countries in war zones and difficult situations. They just leave. They don't care about anything. They just leave. And even if your family members don't want to come, they leave them behind because they want to save those that want to be saved and get out of that difficult situation. So on that kind of crisis, they tell you we're hungry, we're bombed, we're scared, we just leave. We don't know where we're going to. But we were promised good accommodation, resettlement, a better life, and 4 months of support. Nothing of the sort happened.
Wow. I have to say it's most upsetting anyway, we shan't go into emotional. Let me just focus on my work. So Minister Roland Lamola called it a clear agenda, and I'm quoting now, a clear agenda to cleanse Palestinians out of Gaza and the West Bank. How have the South African government responded to this?
Well, the problem is the one department called Home Affairs and the Border Management Authority didn't treat them well. You can't keep people who are in such difficult situation on a plane for 12 hours. There seems to be some political interference because the lower level servants, when I spoke to them, they said, look, this is not right. There's women and children on that plane. It's hot. They're dehydrated. The hair is soaked. We need to get them off the plane. But we need political clearance, which we're not getting. International relations, which just doesn't fall under international relations. In South African law, immigrations fall under the Home Affairs, not under international relations.
Right.
They said, look, it shouldn't be a problem. We're writing to Home Affairs. It should be cleared in a short while and they can get off the plane. And then, of course, I was told by the same people in international relations that 2 days previously, when they had a snuff that this plane was coming, they already did that, but they were ignored by Home Affairs. Nobody responded to them. And different people in international relations told me the same thing. And then eventually, I was horrified when, after I was promised by the Border Management Authority, there were some really good people there who wanted to see an end to this drama because it's not good for our image. Now, not only not good for our image, South Africans don't do this. You know, we took Israel to the ICJ. We took them to the ICC. We've been working with them, you know, and we went to Bogota and got countries against Israel. We've been putting our country has put its neck out. So this just doesn't sound right. It's almost as if somebody was blocking them to come into our country to embarrass our own country, you know, to embarrass our government or the G20 this week in our country. It is almost there's political interference and people within our government are agents for foreign governments. That's what it looked like. In any case, I got horrified when I got somebody send me an email that was sent from the Border Management Authority to the plane company. And of course, the plane company has to be investigated too. You know, on what authority did you bring passengers on a charter plane to South Africa? Do you have the authority to do that? Do you inform civil aviation? Did you give them a manifest? Why did the red flag not go on? I mean, is this very normal practice for South Africans to get refugees from a war zone, from Gaza, in a chartered plane? Like in our history, how many times has this happened? Every week, every month, every year? It's never happened in our history. So something is seriously wrong. That plane has to be investigated. Why was no food provided on the plane? Why are the people kept without an aircon and only one open door on the tarmac for 13 hours? You need to answer these questions, and government needs to investigate this. You know, we're very serious about this. So in any case, somebody overruled, and of course they didn't get off the plane. And the horrific part was, and I got that email, there was 1 hour left. The email I got at 6:30 in the evening, and it said, it got an instruction, the plane company got an instruction that by 7:30, you need to take those refugees and fly back to Kenya. If they want asylum, they must apply for asylum there. And when I heard that, I was horrified. I said, do you know what's that going to do to the image of our country and the suffering of these people? We got an entire legal team ready, waiting outside the court to issue an urgent interdict to prevent that plane from flying out. And at that point, of course, somebody from government responded and said, look, it's approved. They can enter the country. The minister is going to sign that paper. I said, it took you guys 13 hours to sign a paper. How long does this take? You know, and you were left refugees on a plane in inhumane conditions. Somebody's got to answer for this. And then eventually, of course, they came out. Those poor people, when they saw the South African crowds coming to welcome them outside the airport, they just forgave the fact that they were kept hostage in a plane for 13 hours. They remembered what South Africa did for them. And they said, thank you, South Africa. Thank you very much for allowing us to come to the country and coming to receive us. So forgiving, so patient, so compassionate. It touched the hearts of everybody who came to receive them, including our media and all the activists and the local people.
It's an extraordinary story. Extraordinary. So the aircraft that brought them, did the South African government not think to hold it and actually force the pilot, you know, and investigate the crew, etc., so they could trace back the ownership, etc.? Or has the plane been allowed to just take off and go back?
No, it's a South African company, Global Aviation. Global Aviation manages Lift Airlines in South Africa. We know the company. And we've asked the government to investigate them and to find out how this is possible. Of course, I had a detailed discussion with people in government, and they now, and I recommended, and you know, we said, we don't want any more planes coming to South Africa. Not because we're inhuman. We don't want any country in the world to accept planes, because we're assisting Israel in ethnic cleansing and moving people out of Gaza. What we're insisting on is for those borders to be open, for aid to go in, for medical teams to go in, and for all those Palestinians for years who have been kicked out of their country to allow them to go back to their homes. And of course, there's no home there right now. There's the tents, there's open air, but it's still their land. And we need the international community to help rebuild that country and allow all those exiled Palestinians to return, because this is their right. We don't want anybody else to leave. We want people to go back the other way. And many Palestinians, wherever they are, no matter what they've experienced, still want to go home. Yeah. That's the only land they know.
Yeah, indeed. So going back to what you were saying, so this is a South African airline, or an airline that belongs to a South African company. Has the owner been arrested?
No. They know this. And we don't know when the investigation is going to start. But I do know that the following day or a day later, they had a very high-level cabinet meeting on various aspects of security, how the planes came, who was responsible, what happened. And, of course, that's not been made public yet. But the president is also, I officially called in media for the president to institute an investigation, all these different things that I just told you about. And they did say an investigation is being instituted. We were going to wait for those results.
Wow. Extraordinary. Absolutely extraordinary. You have so many, all the sort of licenses and approvals that planes have to get to come into a country's airspace, let alone actually landing, and nobody knows. I mean, indeed, it is the mystery flight, that in a way that we've never ever seen them before. There's a company called Al-Majid or Al-Maj Europe, which kind of presents itself as the humanitarian organization. It was founded in Germany in 2010. With no online presence, it's new. It uses AI-generated photos and recycled images from Syria. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's the organization that Haaretz investigated. That's the organization that the money was received from these Palestinian people. Their website is 2025, but they say they're in existence from 2010. And of course, Haaretz, the Israeli newspaper, investigated them and found it's an Israeli citizen, but dual Estonian Israeli citizenship that's involved with the Israeli military. And they've said it openly. Al Jazeera did a similar investigation and they dug up more information. And the similarly other media and other agencies throughout the world started doing the same thing and all came up with the same conclusion, that this is a front organization for the Israeli government involved in, they call it voluntary migration. Voluntary migration to a country that you don't know. You don't know where you're going to. You don't know what support you have. You're paying for it. And you don't know what airline you're flying on. You don't have paperwork. You don't have an exit stamp. And if you ever want to come back, Israel can clearly tell you, you've got no exit stamp, you can never come back to our country. The right to serve, the right to return is negated because they don't have that exit stamp.
I'm sure you're aware of the UN resolution, the latest one, that was pushed, that was sponsored by the United States for a U.S. constituted authority, if you like, to govern Gaza. Given the fact that Israel and the United States are literally twins, how do you feel about that, especially given this, what you rightfully call it, we've gone from genocide and now we're in trafficking? What are your thoughts on the passing of that resolution, sir?
It's not going to work. The people are not going to accept that. America must stop interfering in the business of other countries all over the world to try and be a moral policeman. They need to get out of Africa, they need to get out of the Middle East, and they need to get out of countries that don't belong to them. They should stop imposing. And my message to Awaz on air in Nigeria, I want the population and the citizens of this continent to understand clearly that no foreign government, no first world country, nobody outside our continent is going to dictate to 1 billion Africans what to do. It's time that we stood up, control our resources, manage them ourselves, and kick out those people who are trying to dictate to us what to do and tell us what's best for us in our own country. We don't need them. We don't want them yet. We want them to get out. In the same way, we don't want America to involve themselves in Gaza. Got nothing to do with them. They're part of the genocide. They provided the weapons. They're involved in murder, rape, destruction, occupation, killing babies, baby killers. They're responsible. They send in organizations in the name of Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which shoot people dead when they come to collect food, shoot children dead to kill food, when they come collect food. We don't want them in our country, in our countries. We want them out.
But let me come back to you. That some would say, I'm sure you've heard of, the current designation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern by Donald Trump, the President Trump of the United States. Given what you've said now, some Nigerians will say to you, look, we need Trump to come in because our government are not keeping us safe. Our government are not fighting terrorism. They're not fighting terrorism for us. Our government are allowing all these terrorists to come through our borders, churches, mosques. Children have been kidnapped from schools. Our people are being killed every second. And you're saying we shouldn't, that United States country, Western countries should stay out not only of Africa, but of course of Nigeria. What would you say to those people, sir?
You should have the wherewithal, the courage, the organizational capability as such a huge population to arrange yourselves in your own country. Citizens, when they're not happy with governments, when they're not happy with what's going on, they organize themselves. South Africa had a resistance movement. People in South Africa stood up and it changed, and it's happening in only parts of the world. It's happening, we're seeing it in Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, Namibia. People are standing up. There are 90% good people in our countries, and we need the good people to stand up. The reason why this happens is because good people keep quiet and evil is allowed to do what it wants to do. There's no such thing that you need an outside government or outside country to sort out your problems. We have the intelligence, we have the commitment, we can do that. Why can we not do that in every country in Africa and live outside interference? It's upon the people of the country itself. And we don't want war, we don't want violence, we don't want disturbance, we want dialogue. We need to sit together in every way and avoid bloodshed as much as possible in the interest of our own nations. And I'm sure that can be done like it was done in South Africa.
Indeed. I mean, as somebody, I remember you said earlier when you were telling us about the gift of givers that you've worked in Nigeria. As you worked, you helped with the rescue at the Synagogue Church of Nations. That's what it's called. So when you hear this thing about, you know, when the terrorist problem that we have in Nigeria, or the terrorist challenges we have in Nigeria, when it's coached almost like a religious war, what are the thoughts that comes to your mind, especially given that your organization works with all religions, all locations, and saves people everywhere?
We need the religious leaders of the different faith groups to make it clear that terrorism is not a part of religion. Terrorism is when you turn against the religion. And the message to understand that you cannot support groups like this because they are the very antithesis of religion is all about. And it requires a huge education system, like using your radio station and media and other means to educate people to say, you cannot join such groups. What religion is this where God says, go and kill people? He says the opposite. For he who saves one life saves the whole of mankind. He says that peace and harmony and reconciliation is better than war and killing. It says forgiveness is better than taking retribution. These are all the teachings of the different scriptures. We need very more active leaders in the different faith groups, scholars, academics, school teachers, school principals, parents, people at homes. And if you keep educating, eventually you will not have any members to join these groups, and the groups will fall apart. They'll be small in number. Yes, they'll be funded by outside countries to cause havoc and disturbance in our country. But if we stay away from them and do not join them, we can turn it around. It requires the will of the people to do that.
Indeed. Right now in South Africa, in your country, you have the G20 going on. And it's been snubbed by the United States, which is totally unusual because there should have been an handover to the United States. But rather than President Trump coming, indeed, he seems to have waged war against South Africa. Talk to us about that as a South African.
Well, I'm happy that the president said today he's not going to hand over to any ambassador. If the president of America doesn't come, he doesn't get a handover. It's taking a bold move. And of course, the White House, we had a press conference immediately saying the president is not happy about what our president is saying. And I'm saying to that president, stop throwing your weight around and telling us what to do. In fact, you don't come, it's better for us. Stay there. We don't want you here. You're not going to tell us what to do. We're not impressed with you. You're not the moral standard. You're not the world's policeman. And we have nothing to do with you. We're happy that you didn't come, to be honest. Don't ever come back here. We don't want you here. And, the South African government has finally put his foot down and will stop being pushed around like Africa does not matter. We have our own dignity. We have our respect. We have our autonomy. No Western country is going to dictate to us anymore. That has to change on the whole continent.
I have to say, I had a smile on my face as you were saying that, because all that was going through my head was, indeed, South Africans are children of Mandela, because Dr. Ismail, you're an amazing human being. I can't, and I mean that with all respect, with the absolute and utmost respect and honor for all that you do, and indeed the words and the wisdom and the courage that you're passing on to us. But I am impressed by your president, though, that he said he's not going to hand over to an ambassador. Well, Caroline Levitt, his spokeswoman, said that President Ramaphosa was running his mouth. What would you say to her?
Well done, Ramaphosa, for running his mouth. Who are you to come and tell us what to do? Will you accept a South African ambassador receiving the document from the American president? Will you do that? No, you certainly won't. Will you accept it, that you don't come out to our country and insult us? No, if Ramaphosa didn't come, will you accept it? No, you won't. So don't tell us what to do if you would not want that in return. Please don't come here. We don't want you.
Indeed, we don't. I didn't say that. My guest said that. You can call. I know some of you had started calling 0201 277 0993, 0201 465 7190. You should be sending a WhatsApp to 0809 597 5805. I know one of our, at least, if not two of my callers will be asking, why doesn't Africa have people like you in leadership? Of course, what you're doing now is leadership, but we're like, you almost sound like another, Muammar Gaddafi, with all due respect. People who give us courage, the lion heart. Can I ask that? Why? Why don't we have more like you, Dr. Ismet?
We have them. They're just scared to make themselves known. That's the problem. Our countries don't allow us the opportunity to express ourselves. We need to stand up to allow ourselves to express ourselves. South Africa has done that very openly. You can criticize the president. There's a free press. Nobody attacks you. If Africa wants to develop, we need to remove the ego factor, the fear factor, the controlling factor, the love for power and wealth and control. We need to break that. This is not our way. Africa is a continent of Ubuntu, of spirituality, of love, of brotherhood, of neighborliness. We need to come back to those values. Whether you believe in a book or don't believe in a book, it doesn't really matter. But we all have spirituality. Spirituality is the humanness in us. So you don't have to belong to a church or a mosque or a synagogue or whatever. You have this inborn spirituality which comes with goodness. Why can we not stand up? We need to do that. And if leaders and institutions start understanding that there's greater success in allowing us to express ourselves, we have dialogue without fear, we'll be far more prosperous, far more successful, and far more independent.
Amazing. I'm coming to your calls now. Make it short, sharp, and succinct, because I know many will want to be talking to my guest. Hello. 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 I can't hear you.
Hello, good evening, Sisioge.
Good evening, good evening. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Joshua Perkins. I'm calling from Okota.
Go ahead, Joshua.
I want to appreciate your guest. He spoke exactly what I think could be done in Nigeria. But you see, the complexity in Nigeria and the lily-livered people we have here. We are just cowards. It's not that we cannot handle our security issues. But you see the people in Abuja, that those people that would speak are in their pockets. And that's why it looks like we cannot help ourselves. We necessarily do not need the help of the international community. But if we are concerned about our resources being taken, what with the ordinary Nigeria, what have we benefited from this resource, if not this taxing and taxing and taxing?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Evening. Good evening. Well, he's saying, look, we have the courage. It's the ones in Abuja who don't seem to have the courage. They don't have their cowardice. They know what to do, but they don't seem to have the backbone or determination to want to do it. What do you say to that?
Yeah, you've got to sort out yourself. You don't need outsiders to do that. If there's that many sticking like that, I'm sure there's millions sticking like him. But again, I stress, we need to do this without violence. We need to do this, in a peaceful way with dialogue for people to understand. And I'm sure it can be done. South Africa, everybody thought South Africa is going to explode. When the elections came in '94, Freedom Day, the world's media came with war rooms. They were expecting a total bloodshed. That never happened. In spite of years of hardship and difficulty. If we can do it, we are Africa. We are Africans. We can set the example. We've got the same blood throughout the continent. Surely we do it there. We can do it in every other country on the continent.
Indeed. Hello.
We don't want another Sudan and another South Sudan. We don't want another DRC or Rwanda. We've had enough of that. We're the only people who can control our future with our own hands, without outside interference.
Thank you. Hello.
Yeah, Chief Miss Ireti Bakare.
Yes.
Evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. This is a leader. You hear what he said? People are afraid. The good people are afraid to talk. I used to say to late President Buhari, people shouldn't be afraid of you. They should respect you as a president, but not to be afraid of you. People are afraid of him. Even the ones we hear now. Look at him saying the whole America should not come. He should not come. He said it. But we will run to France, we will run to Brazil. But I say we don't know what we are doing in this part of the world, especially Nigeria. People thought I don't know what I'm saying. I want to thank Doc once more. Thank you.
He can hear you. Thank you. Doc, that was a thank you from one of our regular listeners. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. What's your name? Where are you calling from, please?
Okay, this is Joy. My question is, your guest is, what do you do when your country is so divided? So how can you stand in one front to fight a country that doesn't want to fight terrorism? And when you know they are so divided among religious level and ethnic level, so this is not working. And even when
a question. You stay listening,
yes,
Joy.
I'm asking you a question. Did you get the question?
Yes, you said, what do you do if your country is so divided? Yes.
They are not fighting terrorism.
And they're not fighting terrorism. Thank you.
What can you do?
What can you do? Did you hear that, Doc? What can you do? Go ahead.
Yes, but that's again, the onus in your own hands. You don't get outsiders to come and unite you. You need to do that yourself. There are sensible leaders in different, whether it's academics, religious people, community leaders, MPs. We have different strata of society, business people, and if once you get down to the table, it can be done. We have very diverse populations in our country too. We have different types of cultural groups and all, but they get united. They find a way. When they understand working together is far more better than working separately. Working together builds the country. Working separately destroys the country. Then you need outside interference. They control your country. They control you. You don't have independence. You're a slave in your own country. Do your masses want that? I'm sure they don't want that. So again, they can find a way of doing this peacefully. My focus is on the word peaceful because violence and bloodshed, they are no winners with violence and bloodshed.
Indeed. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, good day, madam. Please, I want to ask you.
What's your name, please?
Yeah, my name is Prophet. I'm calling from...
Okay. Go ahead, Prophet.
Yeah. I saw this country in religious war and everywhere is just burned down like nobody could exist anymore. I want to ask your guest, how will he interfere with a country like Nigeria if everywhere going to religious war and nobody could help anybody?
I don't understand. What's the question? I don't understand. Please rephrase it.
The question is, this country is coming up about religious war. How will he interfere if the war is going on? How will he have to interfere to bring back peace to the country?
You think? Okay. I'm not quite sure I understand that. Go ahead.
I know what he's talking about.
What is he talking
about? If religious war is taking place.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
How do you stabilize the country? He's got a point. What needs to be done besides the people itself? You need to get an arbitrator. Maybe a president like South Africa. We had the peace committee. We had Desmond Tutu. We had others going out, Thabo Mbeki. We had people from our Truth and Reconciliation Commission. We had people who sat at Codesa, who became important people to bring about peace in Sudan, in South Sudan, and different parts of the world. You can look upon leaders who are respectful, who understand religion, who understand cultures, who are not impartial, partial or impartial, who know how to deal with people. You can find people that both sides agree with. And quite often, that's the only way where you have an honest broker that brings people together. There are systems, there are ways. The countries, people get together, but you can bring an arbitrator of your choice from the different warring parties to say, let's sit on the table and talk. These things have been done, and they've been successful, and it can be done again and again and again.
Now you remind me of the late, great Desmond Tutu and the South African Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Is that the sort of thing that you would suggest? Especially, I mean, my previous caller, the lady, I think it's Joy, she's right in the sense that we have these divisions in Nigeria, religious divisions, ethnic divisions. In fact, you even have, sort of regional divisions, even within the same ethnic groups. You have language division and all these things that, it's just created that is constantly used against us until we qualify for the World Cup. And then we're all Nigerians. But unfortunately, we didn't qualify for the World Cup this year. So what are we to do, Doc? What are we to do? We need somebody like the late Desmond Tutu, Reverend Desmond Tutu. Gosh.
But you just said something very important. You were all united for the World Cup. So
We always
do that
do.
once. Why can't you do that again? Why can't you do it again? So there is a way of doing that. You've got to find the right mechanism. It can be done. You just proved it. And in South Africa, it's the same. We all united in the 1995 Rugby World Cup. We united in the 2010 Soccer World Cup. We united with the cricket team. When we had COVID, we all got together. I'm sure your country got together during COVID. There are ways where we can do that. And when we still look at the bigger picture and realize the unity is far more important than anything else. It can be achieved. I don't know, put religion down people's throat because some people have belief system or not belief system. But we have a very important religious teaching from all the books. The Almighty said, I've created you into nations and tribes that you may know each other, not that you may despise each other. So he said, I've created you different and made you into different groups for you to understand each other. This is the beauty of culture, of religion, of ethnicity.
Indeed.
The beauty of belief system is this, that you stand together and you worship two different paths. You may have a faith system or you may not have a faith system, but you respect each other, you enjoy the diversity and the beauty of human beings. Imagine you all look the same color and the same type of people, how boring life would be. So the differences are not to enhance fiction, it's to enhance unity, and you need to understand that.
Indeed. I have a question on WhatsApp. It's good evening, Sisirge. I have been listening to your guest, Dr. Imtiaz Sooliman. I want to ask a question on this mystery flight to South Africa. What role did the other countries like Kenya and Israel play in facilitating or approving the journey? Number two, how will South Africa ensure transparency in handling similar cases in the future, sir? And he said to tell you he loves your courage.
Thank you very much. It's clear. The plane flew from the Israeli International Airport. The movement of Palestinians from Gaza was facilitated through the Israeli roads, from Gaza into Israeli territory. It's a war situation. We think the Israeli soldiers don't know what's going on, and they don't know what's coming in that group. Taken several kilometers to the port of Eilat, which is quite a distance. And from there to the Israeli airport, is this all done like nobody knows what's going on? Especially in a war situation, Israel with all its technology and its all its superlateness, the fourth largest army in the world, really. It was taken from their plane, and did Kenya not know they were coming? Why did they go the same route twice? Because Kenya and Israel have an understanding with each other. And then the only time they didn't know they come to South Africa, they only knew when they come to South Africa when the boarding pass was put in their hand. And this was a South African carrier that was bringing them to South Africa.
Indeed. Right, I'm coming back to your calls. Hello.
Yeah, Sisirge.
Good evening.
Good afternoon. Good evening.
Yes.
Sisirge, please give me just 1.5 minutes, please, because this is your best guest, and it's my best guest for the year.
Is your favorite, you mean? Is your favorite? Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
My favorite for the
I'm going to give you a minute because we don't have the time. Go ahead.
No problem. I'll rush it. I hope he gets me. I listened to the interview on Wednesday on BBC, him especially, and the reporter by the Israeli spokesperson was that they cannot force anybody who wants to move from Gaza through the West Bank to wherever they want to go. That they always allow them. That was their own position. But one ask, because of the 2020 angle that it came, does he think that this is just an hybrid war, maybe just to rubbish South Africa, maybe a diplomatic trap, in order for South Africa to reject them and just raise the alarm to discredit South Africa at this point that South Africa is hosting the world? That's one. Number two, concerning what he said about the program officer telling Donald Trump, don't come. The same thing happened in Nigeria, 1976, when the Soweto killing massacre happened in South Africa. The Olympics was going on. Olusegun Obasanjo of Nigeria, alongside Julius Nyerere of Tanzania, stopped the contingent from partaking in the Olympics, and the whole Olympic was crashed. That is the force of Africa, and that is the force of unity. Of course, we can do it again, and I'm happy that this Ramaphosa is the voice of Africa. Nigeria lost it, and I'm happy South Africa is just standing up. Thank you.
Okay. Dr. Imtiaz, there you go. Titulokwa is one of our regular callers. He did say you're his favorite guest of the year. That's huge. We have 2 guests every week on this show, so that's pretty big. Now, he also asked the question, which I think it's interesting, and it was on my paper here, which is, do you think Israel was trying to trap South Africa into some sort of embarrassment by sending those people, which ethnic cleansing, sending the flight, forcing Gazans to go to South Africa? Why South Africa of all the countries?
It's obvious. The answer is yes. Because Israel is not happy from the day we took them to the ICJ. And our own teams asked us, what did we achieve by doing that? It's not about what we achieved. It's about taking Israel on head on. Their impunity has never been tested. They've always been protected by the United States and Europe. And nobody has the guts to take them on. They rule by fear. And this was the South Africa, as a country that doesn't have much resources, had the guts. It wasn't a first world country. It's a country with lots of challenges, economic challenges, unemployment, job losses, and lots of difficulty in politics. Yet they had humanity to take Israel on, which gave the whole world a shock. And we challenged that impunity of theirs and said, you will not get away with this, because our leader Mandela said that we are not free until Palestine is free. We kept to that mandate, and we did it. And we lost a lot, hundreds of millions of rands, if not billions, in the first few days that we did that. But on principle, we did it. But what happened after that? It shook the world that 72 countries then supported South Africa. It doesn't matter whether we won or not in the ICJ. That's not important. It's like I told you earlier, we need to stand up. We need to talk out. We need to find solutions. But if you don't stand and you don't talk out, what's going to happen? Nothing. Because if we stood up, 72 countries stood with us. When we went to Bogota, 32 countries stood with us. Let's do sanctions against Israel. And we're showing the world that you don't mean anything, that we're not afraid of you. And who stood up now? Young Jewish people in America don't support Israel anymore. Jewish people in South Africa and all over the world stood up against Israel. They never expected this. Jewish people stood up inside Israel against Israel itself. And human groups from all across the world, political parties, governments have stood up. If South Africa didn't go to the ICJ, this would never have happened. And, it's a principle we follow, and it can be done, and it shows what can be done when we stand out.
Indeed. And to that point, one of the other things Titulokwa said is, look, Nigeria used to lead Africa, but Nigeria's lost that position. I'm so glad that he was so glad that South Africa has taken it on, and South Africa is standing tall with it. He's saying, well done to President Cyril Ramaphosa. What do you say to that?
Well, yes, of course. I'm proud of what he said. This moment stands out today because I think he wasn't treated very well. But I don't think I know he wasn't treated so well when he went to the White House.
Yes.
He was being insulted, when he went there. I mean, it is pure racism. Because we're black governments in our continent, we are treated like we are second-class citizens or third-class citizens. And why do we accept this kind of punishment? Why do we accept this kind of indignity? We should not allow this. We have respect. We are credible people. We're not stupid people. We have humanity. We have intelligence. We have resources. These are our countries. If somebody coming to your house and telling you how to live, how to use your fridge, how to use your microwave, that you're stupid, you don't know how to cook in your own house. And we are allowing this. We are at fault. We need to change the narrative. We need to change the system. We need to stand up and fix this. I'm happy with what he did. I'm proud of him. And I'm proud of him when he went to France and he spoke out against what Western countries did to Africa on the vaccine issue. That was not scripted. That came from the heart, outspoken, and said we treated like second-generation people. And that was the second time that I was very proud of him. I need 54 African presidents to stand up and speak like that.
Fantastic. Finally, though, before I get kicked off, because I've got less than 2 minutes left, what do you think justice looks like for the 153, Palestinians, for the 2.3 million still in Gaza? What is your perspective? What do you think justice looks like for them?
Netanyahu and his cabinet behind bars, charged by the IJ and the ICC, liberation of Gaza, return of occupied land. Israel must pay the war reparation costs to rebuild Gaza. All prisoners must for detention without trial, not charged, removed from prison. Each one of them must sue the Israeli government for what has been done for them over the years. Water must be restored. Lands must be opened. Palestinians must be allowed to go back into their own land without interference. The West Bank, the entire West Bank, Ramallah, every aspect must be given back to them. They need to be free citizens. And eventually, the solution, whatever system they work out between them, we cannot dictate to other people what they need to do, but they need to work out a system where there'll be total freedom and peace. Also, that all the Jewish people are not the problem. The Zionists are the problem. And there's good relationship with the Jewish people and the Palestinians and the Arabs and the Christians. And we need to keep that together. A message to Christian Zionists. Christian people are being persecuted inside Palestine and in Israel by Israel, if you did not know that. Listen to the church groups from inside Israel and Palestine. They will tell you that. Open your eyes. Your brothers are being hammered, killed, and your churches are being bombed. You need to open your mentality and understand this very clearly.
Dr. Imtiaz Sooliman, thank you, the founder of Gift of Givers. Thank you so very much for all that you do and for giving up 1 hour in all that you do to talk to us, to give us courage, to educate us, to encourage us as Africans, as human beings, to continue to go better and better and actually go beyond borders. Thank you, sir.
One question.
Yes,
are you in Nigeria only, or your radio station goes beyond Nigeria?
We talk about Nigeria. I'm in Nigeria. We can have you anytime.
No, I mean your radio station.
We're all over. We're all over. We're on YouTube. We have followers all over the diaspora. Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you very much.
It will be sent to you. The link will be sent to you. Thank you so much. We appreciate you more.
Pleasure.
God bless you.
Amen.
The Gist. New Good Mama detergent delivers express cleaning and fragrance boosters for
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
Tired of getting sick? Immunase from Vital